Uh, I'm saying, okay. Well, hi. This is
How are you?
a very long time, very dear friend. We go, as they say, we go way back.
Way back.
Yeah, Paula entered my life in the late 80s and became a stellar front desk manager at our brand new spa. And we've had dances together ever since. So how wonderful. Yeah, and one of the first users of the Neurolight way back as well, and an avid user and fan and all of those good things. So this is Simon. In case I should mention,
Simon, nice to
Hi,
Simon.
meet
Paula.
you.
We've been spending a good chunk of time together for the past couple of years. He's in the company here, and he is our CTO, as well as being the masterful artist combined with the technology in designing the new app process that we're seeing online right now.
Oh, as it morphs into its new iteration.
There you go. Absolutely. In all of her kindness. And we have Vlad, who, there we go. Hey, buddy. Okay. So we're going to come sneaking into this because we had a little, what should we call it? Miscalculation or confusion. You know, this is designed to be more comfortable for those users in the European time zones, despite the fact that you're up at midnight, Paula. Thank you. Um, and when the time zones are and when they changed, the staff made a little boo-boo. So some of the persons in the EU may be joining us. Others think it's an hour later. I don't know what's going to happen. Happily, uh, like they say, it's not my job. So we'll spend the time together. I've asked Simon to come join together because it's fun for us to be together and for those of you to meet other people that are important in the company, and also because the app is new and fresh. Because he's the guy that sits all day with a screen in front and a couple people beside him designing all of this. I thought it would be just a lovely way for any of you that have questions or interests to talk with him and also for him to get feedback from you directly. So
I have a question.
good. Thank you, Paula. Make my life easy, dear. Thank you.
Well, I always have I have two questions. One is, so with with the update of the app and so on, what was the thinking, the thought process behind modifying the microdosing programs?
There you go. I told you.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a great question.
Hey, Mike. Okay.
Yeah, so the microdosing, it's still in there. It's being rebranded as neurodosing. Exactly the same. It's introducing a change, reinforcing that change over a period. So the sessions are in there the same. We've tried to, overall, with the product, we've tried to simplify it. So we've been adding a lot of content to the app
Mhm.
over the last year. It was getting
Right.
hard, especially for new users, to find content that they wanted.
Mhm.
So part of it was a little bit of rearranging the content, how it's categorized based upon intention, what someone's seeking. But with the microdosing, now neurodosing, it was just to simplify it before you got to choose one of four protocols. Um, Unless people were doing chemical microdosing, that's all new to them, like the Fadiman protocol, other stuff. So okay, let's just pick the most popular protocol at the moment. Um, what's being used the most in the app that was the Fadiman, and let's put the content all out there. But they don't need that cognitive kind of thought process. Oh, is it going to be different if I follow twice weekly versus Fadiman, days off? It was just an easier explanation, particularly to new users and people which were new to the concept of microdosing.
Yeah, we were just way too complicated. And that's one of our biggest challenges that he's been working, I mean, sincerely and very well, is to take something that has a lot of choices into something that's easier to relate to. And
Mhm.
so microdosing is just a subset of that fact, that we have a lot of stuff, a whole lot of stuff. So I think that I'm going to drop in that he didn't mention, although he's aware, the word neurodosing is because in some countries and territories, that word is considered a medical term and we're flagged on it, that we can't make medical claims on microdosing. So we said, well, what can we come up with that is similar enough, follows our theme, NeuroVIZR, okay, neurodosing. So it was a change that I didn't care for, but we were forced into making it non-controversial, and we don't get red flags in some European countries are more stringent in that way. So name change, we had to, and
Mhm.
there will be more refinement. Simon and I were talking about it a little bit earlier because, right now we're growing, we're trying to figure out how to be a business. And when you buy the device, then you get the app, the lifetime thing. So, as we grow, we're also expanding, but we have to simplify. So, we want your feedback. We want to know what you experience with our stuff. And in part, that's why we have these coffee chats to make it a little bit more informal, a little bit more casual.
And
So
the, oh,
go ahead.
and then the second part to my question is, it's the breathing before and after, or whatever you call that part. So
Yeah.
that's been very simplified as well. I just have to say, I really miss the 5-minute anxiety breath breathing pattern.
Okay.
That's just, I use that a lot.
Mm.
Well, I use it every day.
So Simon, you see? It's the
I'm
challenge,
not,
Yeah, go.
like I'll utilize how it is, but my question was just with that, what was the um because I know, Garnet, for you, the breathing, breath work, breathing
Yeah,
is super important.
yeah,
So,
it's true. Well, this is what happens. This is trying to figure it out. And we're not a large company. We're a small company. So being responsive, trying to make changes, everything takes more time and energy than you plan. And the number one concern or complaint or feedback, other than wow, I love it, the number one is I don't know how to use it. There are too many choices. That's been recurrent over and over and over again. And I lay claim for creating that problem because, as we built the product, I made more collections. Oh, what about this? And then what about that? They were not made with an overall strategy. This guy, Simon, has had to construct a strategy of use in reverse. If we had had that strategy from day one, we would have built the collections to fit into a conceptual strategy. But we just added and added and added. And at a certain point, there's just too many dishes on the menu. So then we try to simplify it. It's a good problem because you guys have a lot of choice, but we also understand how to use it remains an issue. That's why we make the personal guides, and I don't know. I've said on certain days, hey, I have an idea. Let's trash everything. Let's just make a new one with like 10 choices. That's it.
mhm.
But anyway, so
Yeah, I think Paula, I can say you're very special because in terms of analyzing the data, it was less than 1% of users that actually used that 5-minute harmony
Oh,
breath. However, so normally we cater for the masses.
mhm.
However, we do value very much our early adopters and like our super users, which I suspect
yeah.
is all of you on this call. So yeah, please do. I will look, we're always looking at ways that we can kind of keep everybody happy without complicating it. So
Okay.
thank you for raising it.
Hey, by the way, tomorrow is Chocolates and Roses Day. It's Happy Valentine's Day, somebody told me. And we have a flash sale, by the way, because we're so lovely and we love you. I don't know, 20%. If somebody wants to jump on that, there'll be something flashing on screen and some code put at the bottom. So my dear Anastasia, who refuses to be in here, she is our chief officer of everything. And part of what she does is construct a lot of the reach out and social media and all. So hopefully next time I'll be able to convince her to come and sit with us here. But she wanted to make sure that you knew, Happy Valentine's, that we have a 20% discount. That's not bad. Okay, that's paid by our sponsors, I guess. Vlad, hey buddy, what's happening? I can't hear you. No. Okay, you figure it out. Ali, what's going on? You're on mute. How you doing? Where are you?
Hi, Madrid, Spain. My second coffee with you guys. Thanks.
All right, I remember. Yeah.
Yeah.
Spain, huh? Okay. So if there's anything that you'd ever want to know about the NeuroVIZR, what's that?
I remember that. I mean, first of all, congratulations for the new app. It's definitely, at least for in my case, it. I don't know if it solved the problem, but definitely it made it much, much, much easier. My first concern, the first time I was here, was that I don't know where to begin, and I'm lost. Probably, I'm a systems engineer, so I need to have like a, a, an algorithm or something, and it was. There were so much that I felt overwhelmed, not only because of the information per se, but am I missing something? That's FOMO, that it's, I'm sure, surely I'm missing something. I need to do this and I need to do that. So this is like takes me to some path that, it relaxes me. Yeah, so that's the first part.
No, you can say more about that because Simon is like exhaling finally here. Okay. No,
Definitely.
please. He would love to hear actual experience. Praise is fantastic, but like, why does it relax you, or like, what when you see it, what's it like for you?
Structure. I think it's structure. The fact that less options. Structure would be. And I think that's it. It's simplifying the interface. It's probably, I don't know if that word exists in English, homogenizing. Like it's much more homogeneous, the whole thing. For me, that's way better than before. There's still something that I miss, and it's not about the app. It's probably about. And I know we have a lot of presentation and information, 68 pages PowerPoint, which is wonderful. It's wonderful. But then again, there's something at a higher level, at least in my case, that what it's right or wrong in using this device. I mean, is it using 2 times a day a good thing? Should I be using it 3 times? Just one? Am I using it too much? And I know there is a component that is very intrinsic to, let's say, my body, my soul, my mind, and probably I should be listening much more to that rather than to expecting to have like a recipe, if you want to do this, you have to do it 1 day at a time or 2 days at a time. But that thing, I'm still missing.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I don't know if that is solved through the app or it's solved through tutorials or working sessions. I don't know.
Before Simon answers can I get you in a moment, Vlad? Thank you, bud. That the delightful challenge of this project for myself and others who are joining in as collaborators, creators, users, is that we are exploring new methodological territory. If we were just doing brain entrainment, it's super easy. But we're doing something that is novel, it's progressive. It's built on 7 or 8 converging scientific disciplines. And that's why we had to create a new name to call it brain engagement. We want to engage the brain in such a way that it can be induced to make short-term state shifts, long-term trait shaping. And this discovery keeps on unfolding. I think it's probably public knowledge by now. One of the strongest claims with the NeuroVIZR use is in some way influencing or enhancing sleep experiences, sleep cycles. Well, I've said it before, I'll say it again now. I didn't design it to do that. It was a discovery. And although we've seriously optimized it, but the truth was emerging, it didn't matter what damn session you used. I said, well, I'm really confused here because everything is built on a theme, technically a vector, that we work towards certain probability states. You know, you go to a comedy movie, it's not the same degree of humor for every person. Not every person finds it to be as funny. So we can move it in a direction. So it's like, well, why is it having such a significant effect on people's sleep experiences? And then I move down, deeper, and it's about this thing called brain signal variability. I won't take the time now to talk about it, but now I understand there's a purpose and a reason for it. Like, oh, now I see. And this process is the now I see process has been going on for 8 years for me. And I'm at the steering wheel. Now I have a whole bunch of people in the car with me. So, you know, that point of like, well, exactly how do I use it? It is oftentimes described as brain exercise, and the brain is physical. So think about somatic exercise. How many different kinds of exercise are there? Well, there are lots of different types of exercise, and they're all exercise. It's like there are lots of different kinds of meditation. And we realize, wow, we've entered into like a super gymnasium. Now, do I want to go to the yoga class, the aerobics class? Do I want to do strength training? Is it agility training? That this is one of the reasons why we have a lot of choices. So that's the good news. The bad news is to refine those choices. I'll stop now, but I'll leave a couple of principles. We build on principle. So what's an example of a couple of principles? I try to achieve the most doing the least. Achieve the most doing the least. I'm interested in the minimum, a different way of saying it, I'm interested in the minimum threshold of effect as it relates to the maximum tolerance of effect. I learned all that lesson exquisitely well with chocolate cake. One piece can give you a great deal of satisfaction. Well, hypothetically, the second piece should give you at least the same or double, but turns out not true. So what's the last principle? Simple things done well work well. I would rather miss the mark by doing not quite enough than by pushing it beyond my tolerance and then suffering because of it. And I don't want you to suffer from the NeuroVIZR. So if there is an error on the lesser side than the extreme side, that would be my principle. I often think, okay, what do I advise for my mother, my sister, you know, my wife, my daughter, I always think of the women in my life. And what would I want them to experience? How would I like them to be guided? And then I think of that as an ethical principle. So, you know, explore. You know, I'm older now. I love getting body work. Paula knows this my entire life. The weirdest thing happens now. When I get a body work that's a bit more assertive, you can say, like stronger, like I'm sore the next day. I never had that experience in my life. It's like, what the hell is that? Well, okay. So the my advice is well, I've already said it. The advice is, explore different sessions and like, what's my purpose? What do I want to get out of this thing? The issue of expectation. And we're trying to work with this ethical premise in a more structured way, which is what the significant task has been to Simon, is to take all these things, stay true to principle while making it more simple as a choice factor. I'll repeat the same thing I said before briefly. We did not start with an overall expansive strategy of all these different collections that I was building. The truth is, like the microdosing thing, which got released, I built that 2 years ago. 2 years ago. And it took us that long to decide to put it into place into the market. I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't know where it fit because in the beginning, there is that tension between wellness and psychedelics and, entertainment and like, what do we do with that? So one of the reasons we do these coffee chats, with just a minor effort, is to try to do exactly what we're doing right now, to figure it out together. Figuring it out together is much better than us pretending that we're the experts and we know everything. And having the chance, you're a systems engineer, like we need your feedback. Absolutely. I'd much rather do things together than to do it separately, honestly. Vlad, you got your sound back?
Thank you.
Yeah, I think I can.
Okay, we can hear you.
Speak. I just.
Oh, we're getting the echo.
Just let me mute it. Pardon for.
That's kind of a cool effect. All right.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Are we sure? Are
Nice
we
to hear
talking to
you.
you or your avatar? I don't know now. Are we being tricked? Is it AI?
Nice to hear you. Nice to meet you. Let me
Okay, man.
just.
Hi.
Let me just.
We're good.
Yeah.
Vlad, did we meet before? I don't remember, buddy.
Yeah, I think we met before.
Oh, I'm
we met
sorry.
at Helsinki 2022.
Oh, okay, but not on screen.
At a great dinner. I served as a waiter at a great dinner.
Okay, because
I
I
met
remember
you, and I was a.
Yeah. I remember. Yeah.
I was a stage team leader. I was the one behind the stage during your introduction, during your speech.
Okay, I remember your face, but I didn't think I met you here on screen. Okay, lovely. Okay, what's up?
Yeah, thank you. I'm in Russia, deeply in Siberia, the center of Russia geographical. It's winter time here. Yeah, I was happy to meet you again last coffee in December. It was some kind of procrastination to send you an email. If it was, for example, Telegram Messenger or WhatsApp, it feels much more easy. Just type a message, but email, I waited 2 months to meet you again.
Oh shit! Hey, we can do it privately. By the way, you can always put in a request. Hey, we can just do WhatsApp or something. All right, make it easy.
Yeah, feel free, please, to contact me in WhatsApp or Telegram. I mostly contact with Auntie and Dr. Ilmari.
Got it.
We met last time in Astana in Kazakhstan. I sell NeuroVIZRs in Russia. I sell it in Kazakhstan. I was the first introduced it in Dubai.
Got it.
At 2022, people were excited. I have my old piece. Just let me show it. Like this.
Oh boy.
It's broken. It's broken. It's old one. The rest, all the rest, I'm sold out. I need new one because in summer we have some big yoga retreat in Nizhny Novgorod at Volga River, and they were waiting for me with NeuroVIZRs and maybe somewhere else.
Okay.
I'm in doTERRA essential oils. I'm doTERRA founder in Russia. I combine essential oils with NeuroVIZR. It
Fantastic.
produce great effect because you engage all three channel, visual, sound, and limbic, the fastest one.
Sure.
I do some sports and sport rehabilitation. I work a lot with athletes, amateur athletes, and elite, and I help them to break the glass and achieve more results with how do you call it? Doing more with less. I do sky running. It's running in the mountains and ski mountaineering. Two
You run
hardest
in the winter?
sports.
Are you out there in the winter?
Yes,
Oh shit.
yes,
Okay.
yes, yes.
You're a monster. Okay.
Winter is my favorite time. I run in the winter and in hypoxia at 2,000 altitude and high. So we have lots of issues with the brain, with the mind, with chatters,
Wow.
working with mind states, working with body, and our team, national team, Ski Mountaineering, they are neutral, but actually Olympic, but neutral. So I'm mentoring them. This is gonna be first time in history next year in Milano Cortina.
Uh-huh.
Ski mountaineering will be represented in the Olympics.
Hey Vlad, can I ask
And
you
our
a question?
team,
May I ask you what
mhm,
I'm fascinated with what you do. It sounds, like a fantasy to me. What
mhm.
NeuroVIZR, like how do you use or the people you coach, like what's the purpose or why do you use the NeuroVIZR? I'm fascinated.
Yeah, sure. So this is our national team. I gave them one of my NeuroVIZRs, and they prepare themselves for World Cup.
Mm.
In 3 days, they coming somewhere in Italy. I think in Milano. I think they come in Milano for a next World Cup stage, and right after this session, I will text them how to use NeuroVIZR with the frankincense oil together
Wow.
to adjust their mindset for competition. Because when you are Russian champion, it's okay, but when you introduce yourself to World Cup stage, there are the competition is much more harder, and
Sure.
you don't expect it. And to compete, to keep yourself at the same rate as home rate, you should overcome yourself mentally because physically you are at a great level.
How often
So
do you
we
recommend
use
they take a NeuroVIZR session? Just following on from Ali's question about habits and how many
uh,
play.
for us. I have in sports. I have no such formalized experience. I just advise. I just look for the person, and depending on his or her conditions, we choose. It might be I enjoy a lot of chakra massage, blast off, and Oli
Mhm.
and sleeping session. So we look at the person. He might need absolutely out of sports treatment. Just depends on personality because I use lots of essential oils. I can see in the soul
Yes.
deeper than in the face and advice which as also NLP. I have NLP experience and combining some NLP, analyzing his or her speech and his or her verbal models. What does he or she carries at her mind and subconscious mind? We reframe it and substitute it to successful sentences and successful mindset, and
Mhm.
it helps. It helps a lot, and it depends. We use for technique because they have lots of technique issues like the coordination. coordination, we use coordination program.
Mhm.
Or also we can use pre-workout and post-workout session. It's a great idea to unwind or to prepare. Myself, the day after tomorrow, I have my own local cup, and I have to local start, local
Mhm.
competition, and I think I will also have some NeuroVIZR sessions. And of course, while you're competing, you travel a lot. You have lots of things to overcome, and sleep session. Certainly, sleep session. Everyone needs sleep session, not because of sleep issues, but for quality recovery.
Vladimir,
Because
this is
I use
yep.
I
Okay.
use tracking, and I can relate how my recovery rate during the night for the night, and what kind of routine should I add to improve my
Okay. This
restoration.
is I have I'm inspired by what you're saying. I'm really intrigued.
Okay.
Right now we have a very casual, comfortable way of talking. Would you be open to have more discussions with me? Because I think that there is so much value in what you're doing that if we're able to
Okay.
somehow share what you're doing to a larger body of users and athletes, I think that would be wonderful. I would really like to pursue, and we'll set it up so that we can have some more conversation privately. And let's see, because, for example, I have a background in essential oils as well. Like, what are the top 5 oils that you use and how do you use them? These kinds of things are exciting to us, which is why we built the Neuroathletics collection to be able to relate in these kinds of ways a lot more. So, please, I would be honored to have the chance to spend some more time discussing that with you.
You're very welcome.
Uh-huh.
And it was like a mission. And when Antti gave me this NeuroVIZR in 2022, he told, please go and make a difference for people. So
Yeah.
I'm doing. And it would be great to have some session in Russian with you. I can translate. I think some people might be interested in a Zoom session with you with my translation to Russian.
Okay. We can do that. That right now, Paula knows she's an old friend, but that I've said many times, I love learning. I really love learning, and learning is always best when it's shared. You're learning so much. I think you could have so much joy to be able to share what you're learning with other people. I'm very attracted to that idea. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, let me do it, please.
Okay. All right. So,
Actually, I'd go back just, Ali, earlier you were asking, and thank you for sharing the feedback. Worth mentioning the app. I mean, it's living and breathing. We're doing weekly releases, so the app will continue to evolve based upon the engagement and the usage. So yeah, thank you for everyone that's sharing. In terms of how many sessions to play, that we're very cognizant of the fact it's a very individual, depending upon someone's intention. If Garnet's talked before about just a one-off state shift,
brain break.
yeah, brain break, or if you're trying to work more for long-lasting trait change. So the routines, the neuro dosing are kind of like a special routine, which is reinforced, but we have crafted other routines, and that was more our attempt to give someone a structure who wants over 3 days or 7 days or 10 days, wants a program where every day, okay, take this, and then you get notified every day of what comes next. Generally, that's 1 session a day. Sometimes it's 2. And again, it depends. So we discuss sleep. Sometimes it's useful to have something that helps someone get more alert in the morning. And then later in the day, something to take the energy down lower. So sometimes it's 2 sessions in a day. Generally, they're 1 session in a day for some of the courses. But again, it's very individual, just like there's not one diet fits everybody, what they're trying to achieve. Might even depend how people slept the night before, how much, you know, cognitive demand they're able to take, which is why we're still leaving it quite a bit of freedom for people to use it.
Okay. Yeah, a thing that I'm reminded of, I've discussed it before, and I blame myself for not having made that more clear earlier on. And if you've heard it before, you'll hear it again, that what constitutes a session, a NeuroVIZR session? And seemingly, when the lights start, whether you do some breathing or not, and when the lights and sound end, do you do something or not? But the concept is the session is the light and sound thing. And that is not exactly true, because we divide it into brain prime with a P and brain time with a T. The brain prime is the light and sound stimulation. Then when it ends, another new session begins. So another way to frame it is that the light and sound is the lesson, and the period following the lesson is the learning. Or another analogy, light and sound is the meal that you're eating, and when you finish eating, you start digesting. So these are all analogies. The light and sound time, the brain prime with a P, prime, puts the brain into a very active stimulation process. When it finishes, the brain is in a state of hypersensitivity. It's called hyperplasticity. So you're now in a sensitized state. That sensitized state is critically important to begin to neurologically integrate the stimulation information. So the brain time, let's call it, 11 minutes followed by 11, I don't know, like 10 and 10, something like that. That for actually about an hour or two, you're in a sensitized state. So the guidance that I give is, when the light and sound end, stay there. Keep your eyes closed and feel what you feel. Just feel what you feel and follow the feeling. By follow the feeling, it means the most powerful, primeval psychoactive agent of all, called your attention. When your attention goes to recognize the feelings, and you follow, whether they're feelings or sensations, I don't know what to call it, but these things are there all the time. It's incredibly rich information, but we're not normally aware of it because of the generalized sensations and feelings and moods and ideas that we have. At that moment, these incredibly powerful, somewhat subtle sources of information become really easy to experience. You have all these feelings and sensations that are actually sources of guidance and information. And if you simply feel the feelings and follow them, sometimes it seems like you're following them in your body, like in your legs and into your arms and heads. Other times, the feelings are taking you kind of somehow out of the body, but in the body. It's hard to describe. These are like the snake untying its own knot. This is the information that is guiding us into ways of knowing without thinking, into solutions of problems where we haven't been able to define the problems, and suddenly it doesn't matter because the solutions are untying them anyway. So how many sessions to do a day? I have noted that if I take advantage of the brain time with a T, that the potency of the change dynamics is multiplied exponentially. So much, another analogy, you go to a therapist for an hour, but then if you walk out the door and you leave the therapy behind and you go to live your life like you did before the therapy, why go to therapy? It's like going to just to hear yourself talk, or the lights and sound is like going to the circus. That I think, try to achieve the most while doing the least. Simple things done well work well. And this thing called attention, I don't go further because it's a maximum topic. It's what do pain and pleasure have in common? They command your attention. Why does our body need attention in a process? Because most things are going, we have trillions of cells and 10,000 actions per second per cell. We can't imagine. So what is this thing called feeling? Why is it important to feel? Why do we have emotions? Why do we have sensations? All these things beckon this incredibly potent, unusual psychoactive agent called attention. So my invitation, when it comes to doing more, I wouldn't say do more by quantity as opposed to give more attention to what you do when you do it. And I think you would be pleased. I think you would be pleased. So there you go. That's my lecture.
Thank you.
For the day.
Can I mention something?
Absolutely.
You're jumping into my second feedback, and it's what I wanted to tell you, and it's taking upon what Paula has mentioned, the sounds afterwards. That sounds afterwards. For me, and I tend to use very much the gamma session, which is beautiful. It's just beautiful, beautiful. But then I don't know if it's even more beautiful what happens after. Staying there in calm. And what I tend to use is the 30-second nature sound. All those birds and water and jungle. So, and again, I know you can't cater for anyone, but it would be beautiful if we could have 5 minutes of birds and jungle and not 30 seconds. I mean, like just 30 seconds is like, it's gone. And I know silence is important. I know being there is important, but just being there, with that sound of nature, it's wonderful, wonderful.
Okay. Well,
Noted.
okay.
Thank you.
You have a witness. I heard it. He's here. It's also being recorded. I must say that there's more than a forest full of birds and insects and streams waiting. They're very attractive and loud and beautiful. It's just that we don't normally tune the receiver to them. So, but all of this points to the fact that what constitutes a session in maturity needs to be expanded into the whatever before and whatever after. Coffee 20. I could use a coffee actually, but right now, once again, happy Valentine's Day. You can keep the roses. Send me the chocolates, please. In my world, when it comes to desserts and sweet things, there's chocolate and everything else. So happy Valentine's Day. If anybody wants to take a quick chance, give themselves a gift, here we go. Thank you. Okay, so we have, about 10 minutes left. Right now, normally these coffee chats have more people online, but because there was an hour confusion, I think there will be some good number of people getting ready to come on in a few minutes and then to find out it's ended. This whiz is, of course, recorded, and that everybody has a chance to re-listen to it later on. Okay, in these last few...
I
Yes,
just wanted to
please.
say, I forgot to mention it before.
Sure.
One of the things I've noticed, which has been happening for some time, but I really just took note of it a couple of weeks ago,
Mhm.
is I go into a very deep parasympathetic nervous system response after my NeuroVIZR
Yep.
session.
Yep. I don't hear
So,
you. Well,
oh, that's it. Just that, and I think it's great.
yeah. Do you like it?
Well, I like it because I think it's very healthy. It's like this entire nervous system reset.
Well, see, this is all of this is what we are jointly exploring. Yeah, I have a lot of knowledge. I'll accept that. But knowledge is limited by the scope of experience. And by having the chance to spend time together like this, to me is, well, it's both inspires and informs me. So, yeah, what about, I'll ask Vlad, what about what Paula just said, if you heard her, that after a session, frequently she goes into a deep parasympathetic, kind of soothed, relaxed, healing space. What's your experience or opinion about that?
Good question and good topic to discuss and for long-lasting discussion. That's what I do usually now with people and mostly with ladies. Mostly my audience are beautiful and slim-shaped ladies about 30-40 years. This is the most, how to say, audience who wants now to live, to achieve more life quality using oils and using some my neurohacking and biohacking techniques. But the ladies who are older than 40s also I deal with, and the mostly what we are achieving with girls is switching on and waking up their parasympathetic response, because they all mostly live at very in a strain, in a very tension body and tensions mentality.
Mm-hmm.
Usually I I learned some body works, some faster work. I apply some oils to leaves to how to say to remove from there some fascia some spasms in fascia, and sometimes we use NeuroVIZR to achieve to 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 contact their subconscious mind and to find there some issues they're keeping from their birth on or from their childhood or from their marriage, which is now broken usually. But the goal is with girls is to contact, to touch to their parasympathetic system and to make them like a needles and pins and switch off their central nervous system.
Mm-hmm.
If she lets me know that she feels some like a different stage, the goal is achieved. Usually, sometimes we are achieving kind of orgasms and multi-orgasms as their some of their organs became relaxed and leave the tension, and mostly from feminine organs,
Mm-hmm.
from reproductive systems, leaving tension, removing tension from female reproductive systems. It makes them happy and feel kind of orgasmic, and they find themselves like waking up and sober. Wow, I think this is not my belief. And it's like a aha moment.
Mm-hmm.
If you can achieve this state, this parasympathetic state,
Mm-hmm.
it's, I think, the best thing you are able to achieve now.
Okay. Yeah, I myself, this is part of that brain time thing that it's interesting because the session itself, the light and sound session, can be sometimes, quite exciting and demanding, or sometimes quite horizontal. Sometimes it goes quite deep. And still, at the end of that, it becomes incredibly more personalized when you spend time in that brain time state, that the session itself has a vector, it has a theme, it moves towards a certain probability state. You know, you can go to a movie that is a comedy, you can go to a movie that is a thriller, you can go to a movie that is a sci-fi movie. How you feel after can be
Exactly.
deeply personalized.
It's what you get
Can be
from the
deeply
book or from the
personalized.
movie.
So, yeah, Vlad works. I've worked with a number of experienced, intelligent Russians, and I have to say I'm fascinated by the cultural point of view because you're very scientific as well as being esoteric, as well as being psychological. It is a tradition that I really respect. I've worked with a number of Russians and Russian devices, and you bring so much to the table because of the nature of how your culture approaches science. So, you know, uh, thank you for that. We have a lot to learn. Lastly, I'm going to finish up now because we just have a couple of minutes. Paula, dear
Yes,
friend, thank you for staying up late. I hope that's okay.
my pleasure.
My pleasure. And Ale, thank you, buddies. It's very nice to meet you. Smiling face, I remember again.
Thank you.
And Vlad, we'll reach out and be in touch. Last of all, Simon, thank you for joining me, buddy. Is there any last thing you'd like to say about the new app, which is actually his baby?
I mean, I enjoy seeing it transform, like, with all of the changes. And then for me, it's great because, I've used the Neurolight. And so it's always good for me to see the different iterations and adapt to them and, um, and use them for my own personal use and use with other people. So,
Hey,
um,
Paula, my Paulita,
hmm.
any, without getting too personal, Michelle, what's going on?
I mean, we use it regularly for him. I use it in conjunction with essential oils,
Yes.
with Rife Machine, and and then we do a sauna afterwards.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
so, and then
And
I try, and we do some balance, and left brain integration and whatever, we do some. So, he's holding.
holding. Okay.
He's on
Okay.
a good regimen.
That's great. Without going
And he
into
does it, like
yes.
you said, you do all your other things, your exercise, your diet, your minds, all of it.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
enhance the effect.
Yeah. She, without details, she's speaking of a mutually dear friend that has Parkinson's and is, holding his own and stabilizing. So, and thank you. That's a personal question. So, but yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. Guess what, folks? We're going to say goodbye. Thank you for showing up. And for those of you that see this recording and you came in just as we finished, apologies on the potential time confusion. Thank you very much, Simon. Thank you for being here, buddy.
Thank you,
And
everyone.
Vlad, we'll be in touch, man. Reach out, would you? Like customer service, whatever, so I know how to get in touch with you. Deal?
Okay.
All right.
Deal.
Okay.
Bye.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye.